Son, where'd you find this?
Don't be offended by the truth. They be offended because you called out the truth. Simple as that. They don't want to hear any other narrative that makes them look bad.
One thing I can't stand at this big grown age is somebody who acts like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico, they never lie.
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll.
The flow insane, take my spot, so the range, shoot my shot with perfect aim, 3rd degree, that perfect flame, ain't no sleep, that's the game, oh so southern, that's the slang, when they see me, that's the main, chasing checks and fly like planes, big old stick, I bought a cane, flick my wrist and bought the ring, I'm so boss, we're not the same, paid the cost and kept the change, now I'm walking Hall of Fame, and I reside in the cloud, grand wishes, with these bitches, taking pictures with the crowd, and I'm out.
Yo. Happy Monday. Peace and blessings. Glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. What's good, beautiful people? How's everybody doing? How's your weekend going? Well, I hope. Shout out to my poets, writers, content creators, all the above. I hope you enjoyed your weekends. I hope your week started off the way that you wanted it to. This is going to be an interesting one. I got Rob in the building. I got Sydney in the building. This is about to be a really, really interesting week. You see the title. I'm going to bring everybody up. And we're going to have a little heart-to-heart. Do me a solid, like, share, repost, let the people know that we are on. And let's get it. What's going on, good people? Good evening.
Hello.
How is everybody doing?
Not too bad. Just been, kids. Just did dishes today, or groceries today, so started off my week more organized, so hopefully, yeah. Simple week.
Simple is good. Simple is always good. Rob, what's up? What's the word? Player, how you doing?
We had spring break. I ain't syndicated yet. I had to go back today.
Okay.
Nah, it's all
well,
good,
look,
man.
Oh yeah. For sure.
My students, right, bro.
What was that?
My students give me life, man, and keep me young, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love that. All right, look. Go ahead. You wanted to say something? Huh?
No.
Get your ball up.
Hi to Sydney and everybody. What up?
All right. So this topic was brought to me by the lady at the Iowa in the building. We were having a conversation, and let me see if I can frame this right. So you have a scenario where you have a cheater, or you have someone who is trying to put someone in a position to cheat. They refuse. They hold their moral ground. They come back to you. They tell you what's going on. But the person that is closest to you, it could be a coworker, it could be a family member, it could be a spouse. They withhold certain information. Who is more in the wrong? The person who withholds information that is actually the closest to you, or the person who wanted to actually step out and cheat? How do you look at this situation? See, my thing was, all right, I used to date you, and you tell me my friend or somebody in my bloodline tried to step to you I guess out of some type of respect, but your own family don't say nothing to you about approaching the person that you used to deal with. Do you feel more betrayed by the person that you're closest to, or do you feel some type of way about the other individual possibly entertaining it? Let's start with Sydney. What's worse?
It's hard for me to say, especially because I've been in a situation. I personally haven't been in a situation like that, but I've been close to people that were in that situation where there was the husband of our neighbor ended up starting to cheat on her with one of his coworkers, and they're in the Navy. And so he would be out to sea for months at a time, and during that time he would be with that woman because they were in the same like group of people, work wise. And when he finally got discovered, he kept trying to say like, no, you can't get, like, because in the military, if you get caught cheating, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, especially if you're married. So you have to like go to disciplinary review. You have to see like your higher ups, and they basically will punish you. I think if I remember correctly, he got like 60 days on the base, where he wasn't allowed to leave. But basically, he kept begging, like, no, don't get her in trouble. She didn't do anything, even though clearly it was a consensual relationship. And I'm pretty sure she was married too. But my husband and I would talk about it, and we wanted to feel bad for him, but we're like, it's not just her, like it's not just you both participated in this. Like, she straight up said that she one of the things she liked about him was the fact that he loved his wife so much. I'm like, I can't even wrap my mind around that statement. Like, how could you I don't, the morality of like, I love cheating on you because of the way that you love your wife. Like, what? Uh, so I feel like, with the exception of somebody in a relationship who has no clue, like you just have that one person completely hiding the fact that they're married. They say that they're single. They're lying the whole time. I think both parties are at fault, because if you're willingly engaging with somebody who is in a closed relationship, um, or is in a relationship without discussing it with their partner, you're both at fault because you're participating. It's the same as, like, if you, obviously way more extreme, but like if you know that somebody's about to be killed and you do nothing about it, you're still liable for the death of that person because you didn't take action. Or like witnessing crimes, like if you don't turn them in or whatever, you're complicit in that whole situation. So I feel like it's even. Both the person participating and the person that is the partner, the married individual. And I think it's wrong, obviously, because they're cheating, but for slightly different reasons, where the one who's married, it's just shame on you. Like, you should have left your relationship and honest with the person, whatever you needed to do to make it so you weren't just deceiving your partner who you formally made a promise to. But if you're on the other side, the fact that you're knowingly hurting another person, essentially, is just wrong. Like, if you find out that the person you're with is actually in a relationship, your obligation should be to end that relationship. Be like, I'm sorry, I'm out until you decide to leave that individual. So yeah, it's hard for me to say if one is worse than the other. I pretty much think that they're both equally as bad.
Rob, you got it.
Man, in this life, you only get one or two road dogs. And I don't care what you got going on. Your road dog
Bang.
ain't finna tell on you. It happens every day. Yo, road dog, they are not going to tell on you. They're going to do whatever they can to see to it that you're happy. Now, a good one is going to tell you you're wrong. They'll tell you, you know you shouldn't be doing this. And they might even separate. But for the most part, they're not going to tell. So you have to be mad at the cheater, because think about Cindy, you made me think, people's mother, especially dudes, let's say men's mother, most of the time, a guy will bring 50 girls to the house, and a good mother's gonna treat them all good. You know what I'm saying? She's gonna know, oh yeah, you so special, da 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 da. He must like you, da 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 da. And then the next day it'll be another one or another one. Or then girls, a lot of time, girls don't get caught because they able to keep secrets. Most guys get caught because we tell our secrets. We can't keep our business to ourselves. So with that, like I said, is that when you got that one person you could trust, you can't. I wouldn't be mad at them, because at the end of the day, like, you got to be honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? So whatever the case is, it's gonna all come out, right? It all comes out anyway, right? They say whatever's in the dark or whatever's in the wash is gonna come out clean, or whatever saying they got is gonna come out. So at the end of the day, you really can't fault the person that they could trust, because they're gonna ride either way. You know what I'm saying? The difference would be the one person that'll say, hey, you wrong, you know you wrong, and I ain't gonna participate in that like that, or I like that person. They're good people. You need to come out. Well, for the most part, nah, they're not gonna tell. So you can't be mad at them, because I equivalent to do. Like if you did a crime, if you got that one person, they not finna tell nothing. And I don't, at the end of the day, I don't blame them because we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago to where if you seen your people doing something or if you seen your people's significant other doing something, do you tell? And at the end of the day, most of the time, nah, unless it's just blatantly like disrespectful, you're not finna get in the middle of that. So at the end of the day, whoever the friend is or whatever, I probably won't trust you, but at the same time, I ain't gonna be mad at you because I know that that's your router.
I think I'm different, right? For some reason, the world is so sensitive. You just you can't tell nobody the truth without them feeling like they're attacked. Like if I pick up a phone, I call one of you and I tell you I saw such and such doing X, Y, or Z, but I don't just say it like that. I try to deliver it as gentle but as honest as possible. Would you think that I was intentionally trying to throw a wedge in your situation? I'm speaking in generalities. I'm not just talking about like man, woman, we sleep together type of situation. I'm talking like it could be a friendship, it could be you being a coworker. Would you think that I was trying to start something or I was actually just being a hey, here's a heads up. You might want to keep your eye on this because yeah, this ain't looking too good. And that's a rhetorical. Um, if my ex said to me, your such and such tried to, you know, I'm gonna look at it like, all right, I'll take that into consideration and I'll move accordingly with that information. Because to me, it's like if I still even have any type of communication with an ex outside of me moving on with my life, to some extent, we ain't talking every day or nothing like that, but like we cool. We ain't on I hate you terms, and we still got respect enough in that type of situation. I'll appreciate it. I'm definitely gonna look at my partner or whoever it is. I'm gonna look at you like you came to me with your own story and you were trying to paint your own narrative. Your story doesn't line up with their story. So what's going on here? And the messed up part about it is sometimes the outsider be more 100 with you than your own blood. I might get more honesty from Rob or Sydney or whoever than I'm going to get from anybody in my house. And you find that out real quick the hard way. The older you get, if you've lived long enough, you've seen it, you've experienced it. Most of your family ain't really family. Most of your family is on the outside looking in. So if they didn't go through with it and you told me what happened, but they kind of just like, oh, this is yeah, I'm not really gonna trust either because I'm getting two different stories. But I'm like, all right, I'm just at the point to where I'm gonna use my discernment and I'm gonna start keeping everybody at a distance. Once here's the problem. I know I'm all over the place. The minute you start lying to me, I don't think I can ever trust you again. The small lies, the little white ones. Even then, like, why are you? We grown. What are you hiding stuff from? The minute you start lying to me, I'm already gonna be like, yeah, I can't. I'm gonna go ahead and just go over here. You stay out my way. I would rather you tell me, look, yeah, I'm. I was eyeing your ex girlfriend. I done had friends that was sleeping with my exes. I done had that happen to me before. But see, you understand the game. I know what I was dealing with. I knew I couldn't really trust none of these females at that age. And like the older you get, is even worse. But I knew these wasn't my friends or nothing like that. But they didn't tell me they was sleeping with my homeboys. They was just they was just nasty with it. So
Bro, it's like it's like this, bro. When the truth come from somebody you trust, it's going I'm gonna say 99% of the time you're gonna get on the defensive. You ain't gonna want to hear it. It hurts, one, and then it's coming from somebody you love. So even if you go to sleep with it for a week or if you go to sleep with it for a night, like I done been in them situations where it's like, bro, I know you ain't telling me this, da 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 da. But then I had to look. You gotta sit back and say, okay, who do I trust more, that person or this person? And it's like, nah, this my road dog right here. They ain't gonna. But it hurt though. So at the end of the day, most of the time, that initial response, you're gonna be like, man, get out my face, because it's just for the simple fact that they don't want to hear from you. You be happy in the end, especially when they telling the truth. But at the end of the day, the initial, oh, you know what, I see so and so doing, you're gonna be like, what, man, who are you? Are you for me? Or da da da. You're gonna think that person is a traitor. I don't care which way you slice it. You know what I'm saying? But then once you think about it, or once you grow up, you get to those points, then you be like, okay, you know what? Who you gotta evaluate who has my better interest, who did I no longer, which person is this, or da, 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 da. That I know these people, and then you come to your senses and you be like, okay, I appreciate you for telling me the truth. You're absolutely right. But I know for a fact though that first initial response ain't gonna never be front and out. This could be your best friend, this could be your brother, this could be your sister, your mother. Even think about all of the times where your mother would tell you, or your grandmother would tell you, man, you can't trust that person. But that's the person. You don't need to go with that person. That's the person you gonna run to till you find out. And then once you mature up, you be like, oh, you know what, grandma? You was dead on right. God dog, I should have listened to you. And grandma said right there, like I know. So it's the same way for your best friend. You know what I'm saying? Or whoever their friend was. They're gonna ride for their people. Like, and you can't expect nothing less. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, yeah, who was there with you? Woo, woo, woo. They better, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man. You if we supposed to be close like that, you better. You might not have to say none, but you better hold that person down. And I'm not glorifying doing wrong or whatever. But what I'm saying is the side you came in on is the side you might as well leave on.
Sydney, let me ask you a question. Can you trust a liar after they've lied to you and tried to make amends for their lies? Is there any going back?
I think it depends. If they have a history of doing it a lot and like getting caught, apologizing, don't do anything about it, or maybe make small changes for a small period of time, but then goes back on what and continues to do whatever they're lying about. No, but I think in some circumstances, people can make mistakes, and if they actually put forth effort to be forthcoming, be open, and show like actual effort to amend the situation, I think you can. It really depends, because one, it is also going to depend on the party who got lied to, because some people, once they are lied to, that trust is gone, and it can be really hard to it's like that quote, there's two things that can't be taken back or whatever, like a rock after it's been thrown and a lie after it's been told, or like trust after it's been broken, something like that. For some people it is nearly impossible to forgive a person, but I think there are circumstances where a person can actually be forgiven and people can move on, but it does take a lot of work on both parties' ends. I'll give you a personal example. When I was early on in my relationship with my husband, I was starting to question whether I wanted to be in the relationship at the time, because he had some emotional things that he was working through. And I wasn't sure at the time if I wanted to continue with that, because with his behavioral things, I thought that he didn't care about me, because he was very like distant and reserved when we first were dating because of stuff that he's dealt with. And so I didn't I wasn't physically cheating with the person, but I was talking to somebody who is an ex from my past. And I was sharing a lot of the relationship behind the scenes with him. It originally started as me asking for advice, but it ended up getting to the point where he was like urging me to leave him and saying like he wasn't good for me and stuff like that. And I didn't have an interest in actually being with him, but he interpreted it as I wanted to be with him. And so he was progressively becoming more like, let's be in a relationship and whatnot. And so finally, my husband found the messages between us, and he basically assumed like I was planning on leaving him. And I was honest with him. I was like, I truly didn't think that you wanted to be with me, so I was contemplating leaving the relationship. But he basically made it clear, like, no, that's not how I feel at all. I just insert the issues that I'm dealing with and whatnot. And so we talked a lot about it, and I basically was like, look, I don't want to leave you. I just am not happy with how the relationship is going. And so we both made deals on either end to improve for each other. So he tried to become a lot more emotionally open, and I cut off that person, and I had to regain his trust again. Because for years after, he would be like, what are you doing on your phone? Like, are you talking to somebody or whatever? And so I had to be overly transparent, very open, and dramatically improve my ability to be honest. I kind of, early on in my like early 20s, I had a problem with compulsive lying, and like it was a reflexive lying, because of my experience with my mom. She was a very invasive person. And so as a teenager, as a like safety mechanism, I basically developed a lying habit where if I felt like I was being confronted, I'd immediately lie about something to try and disengage from the situation and avoid the like stressful conversation. So I'd like appease the other person and pretend that everything was fine, or I wouldn't tell people what was actually going on and all sorts of stuff like that. And so when we hit that crossroads, that was one of the things that I really had to work on. And I had to be overly honest with him, where like as soon as I told a lie, I'd be like, actually, that wasn't true. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. Here's the truth. And so we were obviously, that was back in like 2020, 2019, 2018, something like that. and we are still together. Obviously, you guys know we're still together to this day. But it took a lot of work on both of our parts because he had to relearn how to trust me, and I had to relearn how to, or I had to learn freshly how to give him the type of honesty that he deserved. And so, yeah, I think in situations it is fixable. There is the possibility of reconciliation, but I think it's very difficult because it takes hard work on both parties. If even one of the sides is not on the same page or is not as interested in recovery, it will make it nearly impossible to actually remedy the situation. So yeah, I think it is possible in certain circumstances with certain people with certain relationships, but you need that effort as part of the solution.
So let me ask you a question. If he never discovered that you were having that conversation, would you have had the conversation with him? Would you have initiated it first? Or would have it gotten progressively worse before it got better? Because the conversation didn't happen until he discovered what he discovered. So would you have came to him and said, "Hey, look, I would like to talk to you about this"? And I'm not trying to pry now. I'm just asking because a lot of times I've seen this before. The conversations, they don't come up until you're put in a situation where you don't have no choice but to have it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So was that
I That's a really good question. I probably wouldn't have because at the time I was very, very timid, and he had some issues with like moderating his emotions. And so at the time I wouldn't say scared because that's a pretty extreme word, but I was always apprehensive about bringing up issues with him at that time, because he would immediately get like defensive or bothered or whatever, and would just like if he is in a um, negative emotional state, he's closed off. Like he's not going to want to have a conversation. He's just going to be obstinate and be like, my way, this is the way I think, and there's nothing you can do to change my mind, and blah blah blah. He's gotten significantly better, but at the time, I was very timid and nervous about bringing up any forms of like confrontation and stuff like that, and I didn't really know how to defend myself. And then he had that like wall. Um, so I feel like it still would have taken some sort of revelation for it to like fully come forth, because I at that time I was somebody who you had to like pry information out of me. I was very closed off myself, and I didn't know how to like manage my emotions very well at the time either. So I was always nervous about having hard conversations like that because I was always afraid that I was going to like go out of like blow it out of proportion. So, but I will say I was getting to the point where it was getting really hard for me to hide how I was feeling, and I was reaching out to everyone around me about how I was feeling. Like I was going to his mom for advice. I was going to a few of my friends for advice. And I was hinting at it with him, but I wasn't saying it directly. So I was getting close to saying something, but I think it would have taken significantly longer if he hadn't found that those conversations, because he didn't even know that I had any issues with the relationship at the time, because I just flat out wouldn't say anything. I would just appease and do all of the adjusting on my end and just deal with it from him. So yeah, I was getting close, but yeah, I think I think that needed to happen, and it did lead to a very productive conversation when it did happen. So I always believe everything happens for a reason. So I'm glad that it happened the way it did, even though it was embarrassing to have that conversation be found, especially since I was like complaining about everything that I did not like about his behavior to an ex. And I wasn't like attracted to him because he's kind of a weird person. And we were very different. But it was kind of that like escapism and like grass is greener on the other side type of mentality that I was just like, should I just deal with it? Because I was very much a deal with it type person where I'm not going to try and make anyone else conform for me. So I'm going to conform for you. And yeah. So I do think that it would have taken something like that for him to like pry it out of me, but that was also like my personality and my discussion style at the time. So good question.
You know what's scary about things like this? It's like you you get into this honeymoon phase, or you get so comfortable with a person, but you're not really comfortable, because it's like at some point you should be able to be open about whatever it is, and sometimes it's just not that simple, and you have to really be willing to figure it out. And it sounds like you were more willing to figure it out versus doing the easy thing and just turning around and going exit stage left. Um, with folks that you got like family and stuff like that that's around you, and they secretly admire your lifestyle, and they see things that you want and they want to have it, that's dangerous, because those are the ones that you know they're never going to talk to you about that stuff. They're not going to openly admit, hey, I want your life. I want your partner, maybe not your partner, but someone like that. But if I can't get that, then I need that. I need what you got right here. They're never going to do that. And like what Rob was saying, like your grandmother and stuff like that, they'll tell you what's up. They'll definitely tell you what's up. But you go down that line a little bit, cousins and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. You might not get the same thing, and you might not even get the same level of transparency from your exes or your partner. So, Rob, man, what you think about all this?
This is why I don't never want to sit here and talk about people. I'd rather sit here and see if we can help solve problems in the world. I don't want to talk about celebrities and all that, because I'll be the first to let you know I was a piece of crap. I was a liar, cheating, thief for a long time. I used to think it was honorable, to be honest with you. And then the first thing I hated was thieves when I stopped stealing. So with the relationships and all of that, when you ask about forgiveness and all that, I had to get forgiveness on a number of occasions. And I'm thankful for the people patience and the grace for letting me live, because I did enough stuff to be out of here. So what I think, when whoever it is, if they lied or they cheated or whatever, it's nothing going to change but the behavior. And a lot of times when you projecting and you think you're right, remember I always say, I heard somebody else say it, I forgot who said it, but when you think you're right, that's when you're at your most dangerous. When you're projecting, when it's everybody else's fault but yours, when things are not going your way for the simple fact that you didn't do what you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you blaming it on this person and that person, and you start having those conversations, once it comes to the light, you see where your head at. And with that, the only thing that's going to change is behavior. You could talk all day, every day, and unless you show your behavior that you could be trusted, unless you rebuild your credit, if it's rebuildable, because a lot of times you only get one chance. But if you get a person or people that give you a second chance, then your behavior, your actions are going to speak louder than anything else. You know what I'm saying? You could talk, whatever. But once you start moving funny, you out of there, because first they were watching you. Not only they watching you, the streets is watching you. You know what I'm saying? And you even, like you said, the sabotage people, they watching. You know what I'm saying? And more important, the person that you betrayed is watching. And if you love that person, you're gonna make sure again that you're not doing anything. You're gonna make everything as transparent as humanly possible to make sure that that person can trust you. You know what I'm saying? That was old ago. I don't make the same mistakes. And then you're gonna prep your mind to make sure when those triggers come that you don't make the same mistake, because they're gonna come, and then old habits die hard. So you could be going good, especially don't get no success. You get a little bit of success, people gonna want to try to rip that apart. I don't know what it is with the society or whatever, but that's just the way it is. So with that, excuse me, you gotta prep your mind every day and put yourself in those situations and know your triggers, so that when those opportunities come, you are able to say no in those rooms. And that's the hardest thing to do. You know what I'm saying? I think one thing Sydney said last week that stuck with me, that happiness comes and goes. So a lot of times you gung ho when everything is feeling what you feeling wavy, you were successful, you had a good week, woo woo woo, but then when you might have one good week and 3 bad weeks, and by that third bad week, you be like, oh, I should go back to the old me. And that's exactly when you don't need to go through that. So I think, with all of that, and I'm thinking about with the cheater and their partner or whatever, a lot of times you might lose respect for a person that's telling on their people like that. You might lose, because it's like, yo, that's your adult. And most of the time now we know as an adult, oh, you telling whoopty whoop what you doing. You ain't telling what you doing. You coming to tell me my girl cheating or whatever, this and that, da 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 da. You might have been the one cheating with her, or you might have been the one trying to, you know what I'm saying? So you more respect a person like, yo, yeah, okay, I respect you for not, you know what I'm saying, telling on your dog or whatever, because again, that's the last thing you want to hear. And most of the time when people go telling other people business, they ain't telling what they got in the closet. And that's the most dangerous thing in the world to do, because it's all gonna come to the light. You know what I'm saying? And when it do, you be in a whole world of trouble, especially if you was hating you. And I notice it's a lot of people that run around telling everybody business but theirs. And what I notice about those people, they mostly unhappy. They be unhappy. You know what I'm saying? Like you got everybody business, but you can't say why you straight. So that's why I want, when I look at myself in the mirror, like I always be like, I got everybody else answers. I can help everybody else find their answers, but I can't find none for me. Just something simple as making money. The closest I get to making some money, it's like the further it gets. You know what I'm saying? But I know that at the end of the day, to keep pushing. So I know that when it comes to cheating and all of this, which I've done, I know that I don't do it anymore. And I make it known every day to where people know, okay, he ain't like that no more. And I'm very careful, because they say once a person is the way they are, they always revert back to it. So I'm extra vigilant on a daily basis to make sure, and this is even before I was married, those bad habits I had, I make sure that I do not repeat those. Like on the real, like I'd rather be out of here than make those same mistakes, than do those things. Because some of them, at a lot of times, that was a choice to make those choices again. I'd rather just be gone because I know for a fact that it's not me. And then also, what hurt me the most is thinking about the people that I betrayed. It kills me to think about the good people that I betrayed, and that bothers me the most because no matter how good I do, sometimes I feel like I can make like Bill Gates money, and it don't even matter. To certain places I can't go back to, with certain people that I'll never be, and those people love me, and I hurt their heart. You know what I'm saying? And that thing lasts forever. I don't care. They say time heal all wounds. I don't know if it heals some. You know, if you're a soldier, you keep pushing, but at the same time, you know who wronged you. You remember. I don't care if it's first grade. You remember who did you wrong. You remember who broke your heart. You know what I'm saying? And I hate it because no matter how successful I am, every day when I wake up, I'm like, man, you did this, that, this, that, this, that, this, that. And I don't even forgive myself. I leave that for the power or whatever. And like I said, I'm thankful because I don't forgive myself on purpose so that I don't repeat those same mistakes.
I had to make the face on that one. Shit. I felt that, bro. Like for real, man. And look, I'm gonna tell you, like, I would rather you all right, there's different categories to this. Let's break it down a little bit. You got people that only report to you because they want what you have. So they want you out the way. That's going to blow up in their face. That's going to backfire. You got people who tell you what you need to hear because you need to hear it because they genuinely care for you. Most people can discern between the two. You can have the same person telling you the same information, but you don't know who is actually coming to you with the best of intentions behind it. That tells me that you don't really know yourself as much as you say you do. I don't look at it as the only time I would have a lack of respect for something like that is if I could see through you. I could tell that you were being conniving and you were being sneaky. Like I know that you don't really like me anyway, and you're doing this. Yeah, that's one thing. When it's somebody who is telling you, look, this is what's up. You can be mad at me, you can hate me all you want. That's fine. That person, you probably irritate me, but I respect it because you're saying something that I'm ignoring. 9 times out of 10, I already know that it's true. You're just confirming it for me. You know how we have that second, that intuition. You know something ain't right, but you're hoping it isn't, but somebody or some situation is reminding you, nope, you're right. Oh, a commercial come on, a commercial tell on you, a commercial confirm what you was thinking in your head, a phone call, a text message, your favorite food or something pop up in your face, and they'd be like, oh, whoa, hold up, how did that? Yeah, God work in mysterious ways like that. So I don't. I will say, Sydney, you have a point. There are people that if they really cared and they lie here and there or whatever, if they really care and they don't want that pain on them, like Rob said, they'll try to fix it. They'll try to work it out. You don't even have to say nothing to them. They'll pick the phone up. They'll call you. They'll be like, "Hey, I want to talk to you about something. Remember 2 weeks ago or whatever? Yeah, I was wrong as hell about that. I shouldn't have said whatever it is. They'll do it on their own. You don't have to force nobody to keep it a buck with you. If they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it. Family or friend. At this stage in life, at this age, you better be very cautious and careful with where your information is going. Um, you better be very equipped and prepared to move according to whoever the person is and what they're telling you. Because just because they come in the appearance of an angel, that doesn't mean they're an angel, you know? And I'm glad that this topic was brought up because we hold on to things far too long. Some stuff we should have just let go of a long time ago. And that's the hard reality. That go for cousins, uncles, all that. You don't have to keep these people around you. You can still be cool or cordial with them and still keep them at a distance. Because my thing is, once you lie to me, it's like, I know you lying to me. I know you on some BS. You think I'm dumb. You think because I don't say nothing about it or I don't address you or I'm not confrontation, you think I'm just stupid? Nah, I know. I see the whole layout before me. I'm just waiting to see what you're gonna do. And if you don't do nothing, then I already know how to proceed moving forward without even saying a word because there's no need for me to waste my energy. But I'm with you, bro. I done broke too many hearts. I done turned and betrayed too many of my loved ones. I can't get it back. I can't rewrite history. So I could never see me being that person again. And if y'all still out here moving like that, you got a rude awakening coming. I yield the mic.
Yeah, I think that's um from just from what I've seen, when people live lifestyles like that, um, particularly with women, I'm more obviously because I'm a female, but I look more into women's psychology. Um, I've noticed that there's kind of an element of what do you call it? Like invincibility almost. Just not in the sense of mortality, but like they can't possibly be at fault because I'm cheating because of what you did. There's a with people that are serial cheaters that have no interest in um, remedying a situation. It's often because they're either very narcissistic and think like, well, this relationship revolves around me because you didn't do XYZ, I'm allowed to do this. Or some of them are vindictive enough to do it on purpose, like you did this and I'm going to hurt you, I'm going to purposely cheat in for the purpose of making sure you feel the pain. And there's a huge element of like selfishness where the people that cheat and don't care, because there's cheating situations where a person just happens to meet somebody at work or through friends or whatever that just they mesh with and they have a spark or something like that, and it kind of takes off from there. They never intended to cheat, but there's some people that literally just, I'm bored, so I'm gonna go seek out the neighbor, or I like that checkout boy is cute, so let me like. And I think also there's some people that cheat for sport, it seems, where they just want to see how many people they can get, if they can nab another person where they like challenge themselves, like I'm gonna get this person to sleep with me, And I think people with those mentalities shouldn't be in permanent relationships because their personality, their lifestyle, their thinking process, it's set out to acquire short-term satisfaction. They don't have interest in creating a stable relationship. They're only interested in the adrenaline that comes with that type of behavior. So I think that with people that make it a hobby almost, I don't think they, like, if they got caught cheating, they're probably going to be the ones that are unapologetic about it or dismissive or just like, I don't really care. I had a friend whose partner was like that, where she grew up in foster care. She had a lot of issues. She used to sleep around a lot. And the person she married basically was like, well, you're already an HOE, so I'm allowed to sleep with whoever I want because you're already like used goods. So I don't really care what you think. And he'd go to parties and sleep with other women and whatever. So there's definitely a specific mentality of people that are in monogamous relationships. And as I said, people can still slip up. And those are the people, I think, who would be willing, unless the partner that they met is genuinely like better for them, and then they end up like leaving their previous relationship for the new relationship. I think people that like genuinely make a mistake and are willing to put in the effort are fundamentally different than people that are serial cheaters or unapologetic cheaters. So I think in certain types of people, they're just never going to be monogamous. They're just always going to be the way that they are. So I think there's certain people that just cannot be changed. And so that should be taken as a element of caution for people that are in relationships where if you find somebody who that's a pattern of behavior, even before you got in a relationship, how they were with other people, those are the types of people that if they do get caught, you should just cut your losses and not continue, because I doubt that they would put in effort to actually fix the situation. Whereas if you have somebody that messed up and then is showing incredible remorse for what they did long term, not just like, I'm sorry I got caught type of remorse, but actual like, I will fix this, I will make this better, you will see I'm going to be better, and starts doing it right then. I think those are the ones that would be able to be trusted again in the future. But again, it needs to be, I'm sorry because I genuinely recognize that I hurt you and I did not want to hurt you, rather than people that are just like, well, what do you expect? Of course I was going to cheat on you. You didn't do blah, 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 blah. So that's something that needs to be taken into consideration whenever you are deciding to move forward with a relationship or not.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
We gotta look at too. People be traumatized by a lot from their past or whatever happened to them. You know, what certain people did to them, whatever. And a lot of times, if you don't acknowledge it and cut it off at the roots, a lot of time you repeat that same behavior because you'll feel like, well, they don't care, so why should I care? Or they might have a friend that's like, hey man, listen, you bugging out. You know what I'm saying? You should be doing this, and if I was you, I would be doing this and that, da 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 da. Or like you say, you got that friend that, you know, they're gonna do their thing or whatever, and you have to choose whether you're gonna continue to, you know, ride with them in those engagements or not. So a lot of times, you know, they say hurt people hurt people. So what I would say more than anything is that we got to start vetting people out. I think that's something that's never been done. Even with social media, we still kind of don't, You got to learn who people are. That is a art that I commend all people who are chaste. They're able to practice chastity. I commend all people who learn to value their body, value their lives, to where they don't rush into things. They don't trust so easily, and they watch everything. I commend everybody that's like that, because it doesn't seem, the media makes it seem like it's not a lot of people. But we gotta shout those people out who are able to, they want to learn. I mean, I think about Steve Harvey with the 90-day rule or whatever, and at the, a lot of times it was like, oh, it's grown, consenting people, whatever. But at the same time, you'll do better off getting to know people for as long as humanly possible before you make life-changing decisions with them. So we got to start saying, hey, red flags is red flags, or just finding out what was your situation before me? What did you have going on? How do you feel about this? How did you react to this situation? Not in a way that you prying, just so that you can see how they react to the things you're doing. And then also too, what we got to do, what we stop doing, and I think it's the same as the old days, but we got to start looking at the long term. People don't think about a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. We got to really start looking at that stuff, because like both of y'all said, when you in those phases and things feel good, you trust everything. You let your guard down, you get the keys up, you let people move in, this and that, because it feels good. But then the moment that it stops feeling good, are you the person that's gonna fight? Are you the person that's gonna work? You know what I'm saying? Do you really care for that person? Are you there? Are you really wishing for their well-being? Because guess what? If you really care for a person and your ways ain't changed, and you cheating and all this and all that, you'll send that person on just because, like, I don't want to hurt you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm bad, and even if sometimes they'll be like, well, don't worry, I could take it. Nah, I ain't ready. And you send, because you just know that's a person that showed you good love, and once after a while, you're not gonna hurt that person that showed you how to love. And that brings me to where a lot of people don't know how to love. Like, we think about love, but we don't think of it as an action word, to where they could tell you, they'll tell you, oh yeah, I love you, but will you do anything for me? And you could say it, but when it's time, when you start having to deal with a person's issues, and you have to deal with their families and this and all that, it's gonna come to the light. So we got to start having definition of the action of love, so that people, especially the kids, because now with the instant, you scrolling and scrolling, you think what you see is all good on TV, till you find out in real life it's not. We got to really actually have sit downs and first have people learn themselves and what they like and what they don't like, and their triggers and all this. And then we got to teach them how to watch others, because again, in the beginning, you be thinking, and it's wild too, because you could live with a person every day, see them every day, see their phones, and you still don't know what they got going on. And that was before the phones, and it's especially true now, to where, and you don't know what you like or what you love until you're well run dry. When they're gone, then you be like, oh man, I lost a good one. Now you want to kick yourself for being regret. But at the same time, if you learned yourself and you learned your triggers before that, then the 9 out of 10 times you won't have these problems. And I think that a lot of people, especially people who grow up in dysfunction, or they watch their parents be dysfunctional, we unconsciously repeat it, and then everything be everybody else's fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. So yeah, you did this, so I cheated. You did it. Nah, and what you realize is, like, you know what? You might do this and that, but that don't warrant me being vindictive. That don't warrant me betraying you, because two wrongs don't make it right.
I say it's a solid 70-80% of the population that would be okay with walking away from everybody who ever made them feel like they should have did it sooner. Why did I stay there longer than I should have? Not guaranteed. Y'all both cook. Both cook. I love my silence, my solitude, my celibacy. You can say, oh, whatever you want about it. When you look at the conditions of the world and you see that your family be cutting your body parts up and burying you in the backyard, and be the ones that's knocking your family, your loved ones up, your wives and all that. You see that enough, you don't really be tripping off it too much anymore. Because my patience is I'm nowhere near Job, but I have hella patience. And everything that you just said about communicating and being in a situation where it's not about just you anymore, you're bringing other people into your life. So you can't just be thinking about you anymore. You got to be considerate of the other person. And not to the extent to where you feel like you're a slave. Oh man, I gotta do this and I gotta do this. No, you have to really want to be in it. People can feel that. You can tell when someone is like really locked in with you, or if you're just kind of putting on a show. Nobody wants that. So, like you said, yeah, I would just pull the band-aid off. Like, if you really respect them, just tell them, nah, this ain't gonna work. You want something that I can provide for you, or I can offer you right now. I don't know how long it's going to take me to figure it out. I don't even know if I ever want to come out of this. I like it here. Just be straight up. But you're not going to always get that. So to answer the topics, whole thing overall, both parties are under the microscope. Both are at a distance. I'm not losing no sleep over it. I'm not stunting it. I'm not stressing over it. You're going to be held accountable according to your part, whether or not you went through with the infidelity or you put a stop to it. Both parties will get their measure in their participation equally. Just fair to both. No need to argue. No need to do none of that. It's just going to be that. So those are my last thoughts on it. If y'all want to say anything before we close out, you got the mic. Shout outs to everybody who pulled up in the building on IG, over here on Twitter, Facebook. Yeah.
I have a poem that we can end with. I think it's a really good fit for the topic at hand.
All right. Rob, you good or can she go? All right. I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Okay.
She's gonna close out. Blessings to the folks. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. Sid, you got the floor.
All right. So this this poem is called Disconnected, and it's related to the mentality that caused me to be distant from my husband, and it kind of speaks to the recovery as well. So I thought it would be a good fit. Disconnected. Was it my mother's clutch or was it me? Have I always been untouchable, uncomfortable with contact? Was it me who made me feel a loving stroke was always an irritation? Was I already fighting for freedom from claustrophobic connection, from sensations I rejected? Or was it the middle school friend that decided my body was his game controller, silently projecting his own abuse into my own innocent skin, the parts I still hadn't come to understand myself? Did he teach my nerves to jump with any innocent hug? Or was it my history of anger, the borderline bipolar behavior, drawing connections between my mother's hand and my disinterest in her affections? Was I born without desire for caressing, or did discipline sever my cords? Did the spoon, the snatch of hair, the red marks and screaming talks tear my touch trust apart? Or perhaps it was the mistakes I made, relationships I forced in hopes to never be alone, staying for the attention but despising intentions. Sans attraction, commitment attacked me. I stayed to feel normal while knowing it wasn't, devoid of my interest and attachment. Did I go against who I knew myself to be, or did I create my own hesitancy, training myself to ignore my discomfort in the hopes I'd be loved? Did I let myself decide compassion was not to be trusted, or did the world do it on its own? How do I know what's me, and what is the trauma's gentle whispering memory? Dare I say my distance has saved me, kept me immune to the pressures of an adult man's insistence at only 17, kept me in tune with the invisible signs of an unwanted college encounter before it took my flower in the sands of my peace. The resistance kept me from oversharing, the temple which I tentatively called home, kept my flesh from the eyes of clicks and saves, kept me comfortable with my clothes closed, flaunting my femininity with fortitude, though it was tempting to taste the temptations of adulthood. The silence my skin savored kept my church closed to only true worshippers. Dare I say I got lucky. My distance from my skin gave me the chance to know myself. To this day, side hugs reign, love comes through, conversations and giving. But I am comfortable in a crowd of those who love me and honor my boundaries just the way I need. Dare I say I got lucky, to be loved and to love you back, in the way I always wanted, craved, in a way that healed my aversion, reversed my sensory distortion, and gave me a reason to relearn to embrace touch, patience, transforming into trust, because you love me so much.
The flow insane, take my spot, so the range. Shoot my shot with perfect aim. 3rd degree, that perfect flame. Ain't no sleep, that's the game. Oh, so southern, that's the slang. When they see me, that's the main. Chasing checks and fly like planes. Big old stick, I bought a cane. Flick my wrist and bought the ring. I'm so boss, we're not the same. Paid the cost and kept the change. Now I'm walking Hall of Fame. And I reside in the cloud. Grand wishes with these bitches. Taking pictures with the